Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we will be discussing some important questions that are being asked in a React interview. So again, before appearing for any interview, we should have a basic understanding of that particular framework, particular language, particular library. So we'll talk about React. So basically, you know that in today's world, all the single page applications, so it's a we are going to create single page applications, and we have different platforms, like we have React, we have Angular, we have Vue. And again, in terms of optimizing and in terms of weight, so React is lightweight as compared to Angular, because Angular is a full-fledged MVC framework in which we have Vue, we have models, we have controllers. But in this case, again, if you want to create single page application fast, React is the first choice. Again, it is also an open source, it is a small library, and it is only used for creating the Vue part. For all the backend operations, you can use Node.js. It is compatible with all the different types of languages, because again, in terms of request and response method, so in terms of consuming the request, again, it JSON is the standard format. So in the backend, there may be any technology, whether it is ASP.NET, whether it is Java, whether it is Node. The purpose of React is to consume the data, and the data format is universal, that is JSON. So again, there are few characteristics of React.js that make it uh, fast in terms of performance, plus it is easy to learn. So first of all, it is server-side rendering. Second, in this case, we don't work with a real DOM, we work with virtual DOM. So that is why the speed with which the React application loads, it's very fast, because there is a comparison between your real DOM and virtual DOM, and after comparing, it just check that which nodes are being changed, and instead of traversing all the nodes, only the nodes that has been changed, it is updated. Data passing, again, in case of Angular it is two-way, but in case of React it is one way, and it is based upon flux. So we don't send data in both ways. Again, as I told you, because of virtual DOM, because of server-side rendering, performance of the application is very high. It can be used from client side as well as server side. Now the readability of the code. There is a single file, and again, all the HTML is written into the JavaScript file, and that is called the JSX syntax, JavaScript XML. So this is a new syntax that is being introduced in React. So now, earlier, if you talk about whenever we create a page, there was a HTML document, and in that HTML document we embedded this JavaScript code. But now, using this JSX syntax, we have only one single JavaScript file, and each single JavaScript file we can name as a component, and in that JavaScript file we are able to write our HTML. And again, there are parsers, there are interpreters that convert those JSX into JS that is understood by the browser. So the readability of the code is higher due to this JSX. It offers easy integration with other framework also. So JSX is a new term, again new syntax, and again it is extension of JavaScript in which we can write our HTML. Again, same HTML, div, then we have tr, td, everything you can implement. There are few changes in the way we can give the classes and everything, but again, more or less, if you know the HTML, you can easily create a component in your JavaScript file using JSX syntax. Again, a very important thing in React is list, because most of the work, whenever we are going to get any data from the server, it is never in the form of one variable, it is always in the form of list. So using list, you can perform, so you have array of objects, you have array of string, array of numbers. So all those things you can do using React. And again, in order to traverse a list, you have this map function. So using map, you can traverse a list. Then very important questions that is being asked is the keys. So normally if you implement your list without key, so there is a warning, but again your program is successfully executed. But keys in a list, it plays a very important role. Using the keys, it gives information about the item that is created, deleted. So it tracks which item in the list is being changed. Now, two downsides of React. It is difficult to integrate with MVC framework. As I told you, it is only worked on the view part. Also, user needs to have a knowledge about integration user interface into MVC framework. There are two types of DOM. One is real DOM and another is virtual DOM. So real DOM, so normally the operations that we have been performing earlier, it was on real DOM. So again, updating a real DOM is slow as compared to virtual DOM. HTML can directly update, can't be updated directly. So virtual DOM cannot be updated directly. And there are a lot of memory waste whenever we are working with real DOM. But whenever we are working with virtual DOM, it is memory efficient. We just talk about the flux. Again, in React, information passes from in one direction. So it's a new kind of architecture used for client-side web application, and it supports the concept of unidirectional data flow. Redux is a very important state management. So using Redux, you can manage the state, you can store the information in Redux, you can store and retrieve everything in the Redux. So we have a store features in Redux in which we store all the state information. So state management is done using Redux in React. And again, Redux is not particular to React. Redux can be used in Angular and other platforms also. Then there is a very important concept called props. So props are immutable, and whenever we want to pass data from top to bottom, we use the props. So props you cannot change, but again, for passing data, for passing messages between different components, we use these props. There is a keyword called super, and super keyword is basically used to call the parent class. So always if you want to call your parent class from your child class, you can use the super. Then we have two types of component in React. So normally in recently we only use the functional component, but we have also class component also that you can use to create your React application. Then we just discuss about Redux also, a state management technique. So what are stateless components? So stateless components are pure components with no render method. So those are stateless because they don't have any render method. Then very important thing is routing. So we use React routers. So routers, again, it maps to the resource with a URL. So based upon the URL, which resource should be, which component should be executed, which component will be served, we use this React router. Then there is a very important concept called Jest. Jest is a basically JavaScript framework, and it is feature-rich API, helps to get results quickly. Then we have a callback function. So again, for every asynchronous call, we have a callback function, and once the request is executed, this callback function is called, and we store the results in that callback function variable. Then we have some other concept, again those are related to JavaScript, like arrow function. So again, arrow function is a other way, or is a smarter way to write a function, and writing function we're using fat arrows. Arrow function is very simple and easy to implement. Again, what is context? So basically React context is a way to share data globally between React components. It is achieved this by passing props. So again, as we just discussed, if we want to pass data from one component to another component, we use props. Props are immutable, you cannot change. And if you want to change, you have the state management, you can use useState. You have other hooks also, like use effects, use reference, Then you have a lot more other hooks that you can integrate. We have router concepts also. So this is all about some important questions that are being asked. And again, you should be familiar with JSX and how to write JSX syntax, how to traverse a list, because more or less in whenever we are going to create any application that fetches the data from server, so we need to traverse, we need to iterate through the list, and then we need to show those items on the front end. So this is all about React important questions and answers. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe, and thank you for watching this video.